Phase 5 of the MCU is about halfway done, so I thought maybe I should do a ranking as part of my October challenge. Agatha All Along is coming along well, so I will add it to this list, which means that 10 MCU projects have released since the start of Phase 5. At the bottom, at number 10, I have Secret Invasion. This show had so much potential, but it went completely wasted. It was off to a strong start with Maria Hill dying. I mean, she's a major player in the MCU, and you never thought that she would die, but somehow they just fumbled the whole last 3 or 2 episodes, and it was just horrific. I wish they would have done it better. At number 9, I have Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, a movie that I had high hopes for, but the only good thing that came out of this was part of Jonathan Majors' performance as Kang. The rest of the movie was just completely dull. It wasn't as funny as the other Ant-Man movies. I think if they just stuck to keeping it smaller movie, a lower budget Ant-Man movie that isn't too attached to the whole MCU, then it would have been better. They still could have gone into the quantum realm in a way, and the supporting cast that was cut from this movie just didn't work well in its favor. At number 7, I have Echo. Now, the show isn't exactly bad, it's just not as memorable as the other shows and movies on this list. I really love the character of Echo. I love the Native American influence in the show and the way they portrayed the Native American characters. I do think Echo is a cool hero, and that small Daredevil scene was also fantastic, and Kingpin is great, but unfortunately, I just don't remember much about the show. At number 6, I have What If Season 2. Once again, I don't remember much about Season 2. It had a few standout episodes, but not enough to make me think that this is really awesome. I do enjoy What If as a series. I also think the Native Americans episode was really well done. It makes me hopeful for this third season. Hopefully, we'll get more new characters and maybe we'll get to see more different sides of the multiverse. At number 6, I have The Marvels, which I can now say isn't a bad movie at all. I do think Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel is just brilliant. She steals the scene, she steals the show. She stole the movie every time she appeared on screen, as well as her supporting cast from the Miss Marvel TV show, her family. I don't dislike Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. I just don't think the movie was done with the wider audience in mind. It's still a good movie and it has a really cool post-credit scene, but that's mostly what it has going for it. I still love to see more of Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, as well as Photon or whatever her name will be in the next movie in the future of the MCU. This movie just isn't as good as I hoped, but it's not as bad as most people make it. At number 5, I have Agatha All Along. The show still hasn't impressed me as much as I hoped, but it has some really cool elements that I think will be explored more in the last few episodes. It's halfway done right now, and so far I am intrigued with what they are doing with the show. I think Agatha is a really cool character, and now the inclusion of Billy Maximoff or Weekend is actually pretty cool. They shouldn't have tried to hide it because, I mean, everybody already knew who Joe Locke would play in the show. I am excited to see how it will end and what the future holds for these characters in the MCU, especially Aubrey Plaza's character. And then I have Deadpool and Wolverine, one of my favorite superhero movies in the last decade. And yes, it's not in the top 3. You will understand why in a second. Deadpool and Wolverine was an awesome movie. I don't have to say much about it. It's still in cinemas and you can get it on digital or on DVD and Blu-ray right now. You can also go check out my review Deadpool and Wolverine was just a fun cinematic experience, one that I will never forget. Almost as good as Endgame, Infinity War, and No Way Home, but not quite on that level. I did really love the cameos, especially from Blade and Gambit. And in my top three, on third place, I have Loki season 2. This could have easily been number one, but because it is actually sort of the start of the multiverse saga, and it's also just a continuation of the first season of Loki, which I think was the best Marvel TV show. It's definitely the best live action Marvel TV show. Tom Hiddleston as Loki is just fantastic, and he did such a brilliant, wonderful, awesome, wholesome, sad ending. An ending that totally changed the character of Loki for the better. And number two, I have X-Men 97, another wonderful addition to the MCU. I know it's just a continuation of the X-Men animated series that aired in the 90s, but it had so many great episodes, episodes that made you cry, that made you laugh, and the characters are just phenomenal. I can definitely see myself rewatching this over and over again. I'm already super excited for season 2. I don't know in which direction they will go, but if the ending teased anything awesome, then you will definitely know it will be awesome. And finally, in the first place, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is the best ending to an MCU film franchise or trilogy in this case. I think James Gunn did a wonderful job in bringing the story of the Guardians to an end in such a beautiful way that reminded you of how great the first two was, the dynamic between all the characters, the new characters introduced, and it also had a fantastic villain, a villain that you just hate. I mean, it's not a villain you love to hate, it's just someone you totally hate. And it's been a while since we've had a villain that you can just straight up hate without caring what anyone else thinks, because everyone else definitely hates it. And I think it's a good ending to James Gunn's influence in the MCU, and it's a good ending to the Guardians characters. I hope that we will see more of them in the future, but we know they won't be the same characters or the same team that we've had in the MCU so far. And yeah, that's my top 10 or my rankings for Phase 5 of Marvel. Let me know how you will rank the fifth phase of the MCU.